Tamsin Greig and Catherine Kelly star in our continuing drama The Guilty tonight at 9 here on ITV. Now, though, tonight looks at the growth of online abuse and what makes a troll tick.
Tonight, the internet predators who bully, abuse and terrorise their victims.
People can see what's happening to you blatantly online, and there's nothing anyone can do to stop it. It goes on and on and on.
And face-to-face with the man who causes offence to thousands online.
How do you justify causing so many people distress and hurt?
It isn't my responsibility what others find upsetting. If you don't like it, turn it off.
Good evening and welcome to the Tonight programme. Millions of us live our lives online using social networking sites like Twitter and Facebook to share our thoughts and feelings. But a growing number of people using these sites are being subjected to bullying, abuse and even death threats from people they've never met. In tonight's programme, Jonathan Maitland investigates these attacks in Fear and Loathing online.
Over 30 million people in the UK use social media sites. That's half the population. We share everything from photos to feelings to opinions. But sometimes this non-stop outpouring of expression causes offence and even fear.
If you feel angry and you want to post something angry and controversial, you don't have to go to someone's house to do it. You don't have to put your coat on to do it. You literally just have to type it and it's gone.
And it seems everyone is falling victim to it. Celebrities, politicians, pop stars, and of course us. The opportunity to say whatever you want to whoever you want has led some to take this newfound freedom too far. Hence the rise of internet trolls, those who scour the web looking for victims to offend and abuse.
The websites have lots and lots of personal accounts, so you could, in theory, directly communicate with anyone that you wanted to. And that could be a celebrity, a politician, someone with enormous power who you would never, in the past, have been able to have access to.
Be very afraid. Rape, rape, rape. Kill yourself before I do.
Caroline Criado Perez started a campaign for a woman to appear on new Bank of England notes, and it led to her being targeted viciously by a number of trolls on Twitter.
It wasn't until we won the campaign and the Bank of England announced that they were going to institute a new £10 note and Jane Austen was going to be it. It wasn't until then that I got my first rape threat. And that one rape threat turned into over 2 weeks of really violent and graphic death and rape threats. They found what they thought was my home address and started posting that all over the internet, which very luckily wasn't mine, but obviously that made me really scared because it made me realise that they were looking for my address. And every now and then I would, just break down because it just all became too much.
Misogynist.
Idiot.
Jonathan Maitland is a total...
I've got a real personal interest in this issue, actually, because I've been abused online, and although what I've had to put up with is nothing compared to what some people have endured, I've got upset about it. I know I shouldn't, but it just gets under your skin. And what I want to know is, why are people saying these horrible things online when, presumably, they wouldn't say them to your face?
To try and find out, we did a survey of 2,000 people who use social media regularly. Almost half said they were likely to be more honest online than they would be face-to-face. And 1 in 5 said they've received something they considered offensive.
People say things online that they wouldn't say to other people, or if people were present, often because they feel uninhibited, they feel safe, they feel hidden, and often also because they're doing it in a much more relaxed environment. They're not doing it in a social environment, they're doing it in their own space, often alone, and we do all sorts of things in our own space on our own that we wouldn't dream of doing in public.
Online abuse happens to many people, of course, not just those in the public eye, but the question is How easy is it to stop the insults, taunts and threats? I want to find out why people do it, and also if it's possible to find out the identities of those who dish out this stuff.
Child molester.
Deformed hag.
Surprised your parents didn't put you down at birth.
Nicola Brooks posted a message of support on an X Factor contestant's Facebook page. It led to a torrent of abuse that's lasted over 2 years. Just tell me how it started.
It was on the official X Factor page for Frankie Kokoza, and the reason I was on the page was because of the abuse that I saw he was getting, and I made a comment sticking up for him, and they started on me, and these comments escalated within minutes, calling me a paedophile, prostitute, drug dealer, and within days that moved on. They actually made a fake profile of me as me, and it was making paedophile comments to real youngsters, real teenagers.
So this was an incredibly vicious campaign against you.
It was relentless and it was deliberate. They targeted me from the start. They clearly saw me on the X Factor page, but that's a good target. We'll bait her, we'll reel her in. And it was deliberate by an organised gang of trolls and abusers that have been operating on Facebook for years.
What do you think about the way Facebook have dealt with it?
I was using the report system, I was clicking over and over again, thinking this would stop, something would be done. And the comments would be removed, the photographs would be removed, because by now I was getting pornographic photos made of me, gore photos made of me that the trolls were posting up. And no matter how I myself reported it, tried to deal with it myself, you just feel isolated.
And what about the police? Were they any good?
The police, from day one, they really haven't wanted to know. They never wanted to investigate my case from the start.
I mean, some people will say, sticks and stones may break my bones, but names will never hurt me. Your best bet is to ignore it and it'll go away. And by reacting to it, you fan the flames.
I could not turn a blind eye to that. I could not ignore that. You know, simply closing your account down is not solving the problem. That's just passing it on to someone else.
Nicola instructed a lawyer and they contacted Facebook to ask for details of those trolling her. She handed this information to the authorities. Sussex police told us they understand how difficult this has been. 2 men were arrested and later released on bail, but the Crown Prosecution Service has since recommended that no charges be brought against them. Online abuse is a growing problem, and the number of convictions has trebled in the last 5 years to over 1,200. But many of the people behind this kind of abuse still manage to get away with it.
Getting caught is not inevitable at the moment. The laws are in place, but it's being policed fairly inconsistently. So yes, there is a danger, which makes it high risk, but by no sort of stretch of the imagination is it a sure thing that you will be caught or there will be any consequences.
Do you know, once you research trolling online, you realise that it's not a disparate group of people. This is a movement. They have their own catchphrases, their own emblem, they've even got their own anthem. They really do revel in it.
The more sophisticated online abusers will use proxy servers to conceal the identity of their IP address, or they'll undertake their abuse from somewhere public, like an internet cafe or a Wi-Fi hotspot, somewhere that will effectively mask their identity. And that, together with a use of a pseudonym or false details, can make it extremely difficult for them to be tracked down.
After meeting Nicola, I began to realise how hard it is to prove a case of trolling. But I also wanted to find out what motivates those people who say they troll. But everyone we spoke to refused to be interviewed, except for one. We had to agree not to reveal his identity. You've got a distinction, haven't you, between trolling
Yes.
and cyberbullying. You think the distinction's very important, so just explain that to me.
Trolling is entertainment. Yes, it's basically winding someone up. Cyberbullying is completely different and is as illegal as any other type of bullying.
So you're saying what you do is okay because you're not terrorising someone, you're just insulting them, basically.
Correct. I'm there to insult their intelligence, and I'm there to upset the apple cart.
Just tell me some of the things that you've posted that have kind of caused outrage.
I posted a couple of tweets regarding the Hillsborough disaster. One of the tweets was of two fat people, and I said, "This is what crushed the 96."
And you thought it was funny?
Yes, I did. I still do.
Yeah. And then that went on because you said something very offensive about the young child who was murdered in Liverpool, Jamie Bulger.
I didn't think it was offensive to mention his name.
But it wasn't his name that they were offended by, it's what you said about him, which is kind of so offensive to so many people that we couldn't remotely say it on TV. How do you justify causing so many people distress and hurt?
It isn't my responsibility what others find upsetting. If you don't like it, turn it off.
So you're putting the blame onto the people who are getting offended?
Yes, correct. I don't target anyone. I didn't send anyone an email. Yeah, they chose to read those particular...
Do you not care about the offence and the hurt you cause?
No, I don't. If I did, we would all end up being silent in case we offended somebody.
People who systematically troll, who keep on doing it to lots of people, are getting something out of it. A lot of that seems to be about getting attention and recognition and notoriety. And those people are doing it for different reasons. They're doing it because they believe it is their right to sabotage people who they don't agree with, and it is their right to be heard and that everyone should agree with them.
But you've got children, haven't you?
Yes.
Yeah. Do they know what you post?
They're the ones receiving most of the death threats at the moment.
So you're hurting your own family?
No, they don't get hurt by it. They have learned...
As a result of your actions, your own children and your wife are receiving death threats, and you're okay with that?
Yes, absolutely. If that's the price for free speech, they are perfectly happy with that.
Are they?
Yes.
Does it give you pleasure?
Yes, it's a form of entertainment. I see it in its literal form. Trolling is running fishing lines through a shoal of fish and seeing what you can catch.
So do you see yourself as some kind of satirical terrorist or something?
A satirical terrorist suits me adequately, yes.
Except a satirist mocks the powerful and you mock the weak and the vulnerable. So doesn't that make you a kind of nasty bully?
No. I mock the hypocritical and the powerful. Ask any
when you mocked the people at Hillsborough who died and their relatives, I mean, they're not the powerful.
No.
They're the dead and the vulnerable and the weak.
So am I no longer allowed to mention anyone that's dead on the internet? Is that the next logical step?
So you value your right to free speech more than you respect people's kind of feelings, basically?
Yes, definitely.
So you just don't mind if they get really upset by that kind of thing? You think they've got it coming?
I just don't care.
Have you ever felt sorry for anything you've written?
No.
Not even remotely?
Never.
Do you know, the most striking thing about that interview, I think, was the troll's complete lack of empathy for his victims. The fact that he chose not to care about the hurt and distress that they'd been put through. And you can dress it up with all sorts of libertarian and legal arguments like he tried to. But the fact is, for me, it just boils down to cruelty. He's cruel.
I find it very telling that these types of people use freedom of speech as a defence for their abuse, because it seems to me that it's freedom of speech when it applies to them and not when it applies to the rest of the society. They need to think about the effect that this abuse of speech is having on the freedom of speech of the people towards whom it's directed. And that is a really negative and silencing effect. These people that they're fighting for are people who are having a negative impact on my freedom of speech, and I don't see anyone talking about that.
There may be different types of troll, but the fact that anyone can post deliberately offensive comments, either directly or indirectly, seems wrong to many people. Like Nicola from Brighton, who says she's spent more than 2 years now trying to get justice, but is still being trolled. Now, I've been digging a bit, and one of her tormentors uses a variety of profiles, all variations of the seemingly fake name Jamie Card. Several people have reported him, but he's so confident he won't be caught, he's even posted photos taunting the police. I want to try and track down the person behind the posts made by this Jamie Card, and so I've arranged to meet Bill Gardner, a local journalist from Brighton who's been following the story. How are you?
Hi, Johnny.
Nice to meet you, and thank you very much for helping me with this.
No problem at all.
It's very interesting because the name Jamie Card
yes.
Rings a few bells with you, yeah?
It does. He's someone who I came across about a year ago.
I mean, how does he pick his victims? What does he do?
This is a guy who looks online for people that put themselves out there, people that have obvious vulnerabilities of some sort. They're people who have young children, people who might have disabilities, people from ethnic minorities, people who, when he targets them because of this perceived vulnerability, it will hurt them and he'll get a reaction.
Have you got kind of details of other victims? Because there are quite a few, aren't there?
There are lots. After I did the story on Nicola Brooks, I was contacted by a number of people, almost all young mothers. These are people who had obviously young families, who posted details of their families online. Here we've got a picture that was posted on a website. This guy, Jamie Card, he's
hijacked the picture.
He said something horrendous. He's taken the picture that's been shared on the website, he's posted it on other websites visited by young mothers. He also, according to the mum we spoke to, posted this picture on a number of pornography websites as well. This is the most recent case. She was trolled mercilessly by this guy. I think she's someone who, obviously as the most recent victim, is someone you should definitely speak to.
She's disgusting.
Moonface.
If all brides are beautiful, what the happened here?
When Cherie Webb commented on a photo online that she found offensive, she didn't realise that she, like many others, had fallen into a trap that would lead to a barrage of abuse.
You've been hounded by this Jamie Card character, haven't you? I mean, what happened?
I went on Facebook. I noticed a picture of a dead cat. I commented and said, you know, what are you doing? Within a few minutes, I saw a picture of my 2-year-old son being uploaded onto this site, saying Down syndrome, little boy, and please take him away to stop further abuse.
How did you feel about the fact that he was saying such vile things about your son and you?
I was really shocked. I cried about it. I just didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to stop him.
And what did you do when you'd kind of come to, if you like? Who did you phone?
I called the police, and all they told me was to report it to Facebook. They didn't give me an incident number, they didn't take my name, my address, anything.
And what did Facebook do?
Nothing. I've reported his profiles to Facebook, but they're still on there, and they just, all I get back is, we see nothing wrong with this profile.
Do you worry that he might come for you? I mean, do you feel physically threatened?
When I'm out, I constantly look behind me, especially when I'm out with my 2-year-old, just in case this Jamie Card, since I don't know who he really is out there, like, looking for me and my 2-year-old.
We spoke to Facebook and they said they are sorry to hear about the harassment Nicola and Cherie have experienced, but said there'd always be a tiny number of malicious people who are intent on harming others online and offline. Facebook added that its real name culture makes it a safer environment and that it encouraged people to report things that made them feel uncomfortable to its highly trained team of safety experts who'll review each report and work hard to remove this minority from Facebook.
Do you know, talking to Cherie about online abuse, it makes you realise how pointless it is when people say, oh, it's just words, take no notice. Because the point is, once you've seen it, you can't take no notice. For someone like Cherie, it's real, it's frightening, and it really shakes her up.
I've been looking into this Jamie Card character, and from the IP address, which identifies the computer the abuse has been coming from, I think I've worked out who's behind it. I've written to him and I'm waiting for a response.
Facebook's being urged to do more to stamp out bullying on its social networking
who
site.
killed herself after being bullied online, has attacked
a website
both
where bullying messages were left for a teenager who went on to take her own life has promised
One
to
of the most
cooperate.
frightening aspects of online abuse, perhaps, given the age of many of those affected, is cyberbullying. This sort of abuse is most prevalent in children, and the consequences can be tragic. More than a third of young people have been affected by cyber abuse, and reports show that bullying accounts for up to 44% of child suicides.
Traditionally, bullying stopped when you got home. You could go home, close the door, it would stop, nothing else would happen. But nowadays, with mobile phones, with the internet, it's there all the time. They go home, they go into their bedroom, and their phone bleeps another message. They turn on their computer to talk to their friends, and there's more abuse there. They don't know whether it's their friend, they don't know whether it's somebody else in school, they don't know whether it's somebody on the other side of the world. So who can they tell about it? It becomes a very scary place.
Beat Bullying work closely with schools to educate young people about staying safe online. They also train peer mentors who provide online support to victims of internet abuse.
We do worry that cyberbullying is going to continue growing as an issue. We have new technologies all the time, new sites all the time, and everything is changing. We still, as a society, are learning how to behave online, how to deal with this, and what rules and etiquette we need. But the internet is a fantastic resource. Technology is amazing, and we don't want to take that away. We want to be able to make sure that everybody can still have this, and our children, for years to come, can enjoy this and learn to use it in a safe way.
Educating the next generation will, it's hoped, help in the long term. But right now, experts are calling for websites to moderate themselves more effectively.
You know, website users, site managers, as well as the service providers, have to do something, if they want to keep making the billions they've been making.
Twitter has featured in a number of cases of online abuse. We asked them what they were doing to tackle it, and they said, "We work very hard to protect people's experiences on Twitter, and that targeted abuse and direct threats of violence are against their rules. Users can block accounts and report tweets, and they say reports are reviewed by our support teams and violating accounts will be suspended." They add that they have rolled out the in-tweet report button to Android and web, and are also adding additional staff to the teams that handle abuse reports. But they say that if someone feels they may be in danger, it's extremely important that they reach out to their local police too.
Now, as you know, over the past few weeks, I've been trying to track down a troll who goes by the name of Jamie Card, and I've met some of his victims, chatted to the police, done a lot of digging, and now I'm going to meet one of his targets, Nicola, to update her on where I've got to.
We've approached the person who we believe to be Jamie Card, and he's denied that it's him. And the problem is, unless we actually catch him in the act, with his fingers on the keyboard, or he confesses, which he hasn't, we can't really go any further.
It doesn't surprise me, because this is the way it's always been for the last 2 years. These people that are committing these crimes online, they are net savvy, they're computer savvy, they exploit the flaws in the social media networks, they know the law, they know their rights, and something needs to be changed.
So you feel a bit powerless?
Yeah, you do feel powerless. You feel totally abandoned, because people can see what's happening to you blatantly online, just from a person on the other side of a computer screen, and there's nothing anyone can do to stop it. No one can step in and stop it right there for you. It goes on and on and on.
For more information on tonight's programme, please visit our website at itv.com/tonight. In the meantime, though, good evening and thanks for watching. Coming up next week, lower energy prices, a boost for jobs, or an environmental disaster. Tonight unravels the truth about fracking.
Next, Chaz begs Debbie to go to the police now they know who the murderer is. Emmerdale continues. Then could a job be on the horizon for Pat? Better check she's not booked in for some fun with cabbage instead at 8:30. Tamsin Gregg and Catherine Kelly star in our continuing drama The Guilty tonight at 9 here on ITV. Now, though, tonight looks at the growth of online abuse and what makes a troll tick.
Tonight, the internet predators who bully, abuse and terrorise their victims.
People can see what's happening to you.
Take this newfound freedom too far. Hence the rise of internet trolls, those who scour the web looking for victims to offend and abuse.
The websites have lots and lots of personal accounts, so you could, in theory, directly communicate with anyone that you wanted to, and that could be a celebrity, a politician, someone with enormous power who you would never, in the past, have been able to have access to.
Be very afraid. Rape, rape, rape. Kill yourself before I...
Sites are being subjected to bullying, abuse and even death threats from people they've never met. In tonight's programme, Jonathan Maitland investigates these attacks in Fear and Loathing Online.
Over 30 million people in the UK use social media sites. That's half the population. We share everything from photos to feelings to opinions. But sometimes this non-stop outpouring of expression causes offence and even fear.
If you feel angry and you want to post something angry and controversial, you don't have to go to someone's house to do it. You don't have to put your coat on to do it. You literally just have to type it and it's gone.
And it seems everyone is falling victim to it. Celebrities, politicians, pop stars, and of course us. The opportunity to say whatever you want to whoever you want has led some to...
You're blatantly online, and there's nothing anyone can do to stop it. It goes on and on and on.
And face-to-face with the man who causes offence to thousands online.
How do you justify causing so many people distress and hurt?
It isn't my responsibility what others find upsetting. If you don't like it, turn it off.
Good evening and welcome to the Tonight programme. Millions of us live our lives online using social networking sites like Twitter and Facebook to share our thoughts and feelings. But a growing number of people using these